We know that objections are going to happen. And I actually say the objection is when the sales skills actually show up. People think like, oh, they didn't buy right when I pitched. If that was the case, you would just need a menu, right? If you didn't need to push back on objections, you would just put a menu in your gym, people would buy it. Don't get frustrated. That is to be expected, and then be prepared. You should have those top 5 objections we know we're going to run into loaded and ready to go, and that way nobody catches you off guard.
That's a mistake that gym owners make, or they're pitching a price too soon and buy my thing, buy my thing. Like when the first thing they learn about you is the price, that's the only thing they're going to judge you on. That's it. They have no value. They don't know what you do. It doesn't matter. They're just going to judge you on your price, and that's it.
And the first thing someone says is, hey, how much do you charge? You will lose if you start talking about money right there. The number one response that I taught everybody that ever answered a phone in my gym was, the number one reply is, do you even know what we do here? Boom. Then you've completely changed the narrative, right?
This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
All right, gym owners, we are here to talk all things discount and how to eliminate this from our mindset, how to eliminate this from our business, how to eliminate this from our model. Let's get away from this word. Let's break this mindset, and let's make the fitness industry a respectable thing that people value with their money in exchange for our expertise, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. I got my 2 awesome co-hosts, Kim and Jason. We're going to dive into all things talking about discount. I'm going to jump right into it. First, I'm going to just start driving us in the direction of language. Like a lot of this discount mindset comes from our words, and those originate from our thoughts. And so we have to take stock in how we think about things and how we say things, and we have to audit ourselves and our team. 2 words I'll call out just to kind of kick things off here is the word free, right? We think that we're doing people a favor, giving them free weeks, free session, free consultation. But a lot of times that makes people not value you, because I don't get free anything from any other business. I don't get free meals at Panera Bread. I don't get free pool cleanings. I don't get free massages. Everything I have to pay for that someone worked to put together for me. But in the fitness industry, for whatever reason, we do things for free, and we wonder why people devalue us, right? So that is a word we don't like. And so Kim, I'll kind of let you take that one and give us a reframing. And then the other one is Jason, I guess, around the word unlimited. I want to tackle that and being careful about how often you use it, because there's times that unlimited can work for you, and then there's times it can work against you. And so we'll kind of tackle these words, one by one. So Kim, if owners are overusing the word free, free's on their ads, they're saying free in their gym, their team's saying free, what's better verbiage around that?
Yeah, this is a conversation that I have a lot with gym owners, because people think if they run a week free, 2 weeks free, even I've seen people do a month free, that they're going to get more people. And then they tell me they got all of these people that clicked on their ads, but they're not real leads because nobody's answering them. And we always have the conversation that it's because they're not valuing it. People are going to mindlessly click on things. And when they see something for free, they're going to click on it, but they're not really serious about it. They're clicking on it because it says free. So that's the number one thing with the offer, is just don't put free in your offer, because you're not going to attract people who are very serious about it. And then within the gym, offering too many free things. One thing that I always do is, for my starting points program, which is 6 weeks, if you come into my gym today, it's a Wednesday, and you sign up for the 6-week starting point, I'm going to tell you, hey, if you start today, if you sign up today, your 6-week starting point is going to start on Monday. You can come for the rest of the week on me. I have a friend that loves the term, and sometimes I say this. We go out to dinner and he's like, hey, I'm bankrolling this. And this is something we were just talking about a little while ago, is how you perceive the words, and he says, hey, I'm bankrolling this tonight. In my head, it just automatically makes the meal more valuable. So sometimes I steal that from him, but I always say, hey, it's on me. And my team knows the same thing. Never to say, hey, you can come for the rest of the week for free. Because even though they've signed up, they've paid for that starting point, that's 6 weeks, I still want them to value the first couple of days that they're going to be in, because that's really going to be where they're going to make their first impressions. So I always say it's on me, it's on us. We're covering the cost of it, because we also want them to know that even though we're giving it to them at no cost, it still costs something. It's the sessions have value. So that's where all my brain goes when we talk about getting rid of the word free and how can we reframe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so even if you do give something for free, attach a dollar amount to it and then change that verbiage to I'll cover the cost. You gave someone even a PDF. You spent your time writing that thing up. You paid someone to put together the design. Like it costs something. And the more you devalue yourself in your language, because that's where we're starting, you're telling the customer, devalue me. The way you speak about yourself is the way that they speak back to you. It's like a mirror, right? The other big one here is like dollar a day offers. We hear about 14 days, $14, 28 days, $28. It's pretty much damn near free, right? It's like it's so cheap. But what that does is that price anchors you that your time and your service is worth $1 a day. And we then include unlimiteds with that, right? Like during this time, you get unlimited workouts, you get unlimited in-body scans, you got unlimited accountability. And in my mind, again, I want to hear your input on this, is sometimes unlimited can backfire on you. There's low cost services that say they're unlimited. So yeah, I guess speak on that. When you hear an owner offer $1 a day offer, what do you coach them to? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean that is a race to the bottom. I don't know. I don't care what business that you are operating. It doesn't matter if you own a laundromat or car wash or a gym. Like if you're doing that kind of marketing, it's just a race to the bottom. It's just everybody's undercutting everybody. You get to $1, you get to a free. There's no place else to go, right? And so that's something we talk about ad nauseum on this podcast. Is like how do we keep devaluing ourselves in this industry? Because the offers that we make and we see gyms make, you don't see that anywhere else, right? And so like the unlimited term sometimes it feels great to say that at closing. Say you get unlimited to my group personal training sessions. You get unlimited this, but there again, how many times are they going to take advantage of it because it's unlimited? I always think about, let's just say there's a restaurant in town, they make sandwiches, right? And they say you can get unlimited sandwiches for $19 a week. What do you think is going to be the quality of that
Yeah,
sandwich?
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna say it's probably not even a meat-based product, right? Like it's because that's what we think about. If it's that cheap and it's unlimited, what's it really worth, right? And so there again, that unlimited word kind of using with free, it's that constant devaluing of our time. It makes us feel good. And sometimes not even in a gym industry, but like any business I interact with, once they start saying free unlimited, it's almost like they don't have confidence in the sale. They're not confident in closing me on the sale. They feel like they have to give it away just for me to say yes, and they have no confidence. So sometimes it's just we're not confident in actually what we're selling as professionals. So I think that's a big thing. So unlimited, free, they go hand in hand.
Even I go to a cafe and they're like bottomless coffee. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be cheap coffee. This ain't gonna be good. This is, buffet, all you can eat, $15. I'm like, this is mass produced like for armies, crappy like cream corn. Like this is gonna be disgusting. And so like I don't think most people get excited with it. So that's why even if you do offer unlimited, you should still follow it with like recommendation. Like you only need to come 3 times a week. That's the right amount for you. And you can use it in a way where it's not devaluing you. And so like one of the examples I share is my wife, Mary Beth, she's hook, line, and sinker, a Kohl's Cash like user. Like she shopped there like, and I'm like, these guys got you so good. I want us to do marketing because you're my ideal customer. So that they do something I call the markup model. Everything in the store has a price tag that nobody will ever pay. Nike shirts are $75, like everything in there is marked up huge. And it's like, no one's going to pay that. But no one does. The illusion is those because they're always giving a discount. Every week there's a sale running. There's Kohl's Cash, there's rewards, there's gift cards. Nobody pays the sticker price, but it makes you feel good when it rings you up and it says it would have been $250, but because you use Kohl's Cash, you use all these discounts, you use the offer of the week, it's only gonna be $120. You're like, I'm a smart shopper. And so this identity starts to form. I'm a smart shopper when I go to Kohl's. And so the problem is now they've run sales all year round where they can't stop. They have to run a sale always to get just baseline numbers through the door. You guys don't want that at your gym. You don't want to have to run back to back to back to back sales because you've trained the marketplace. No one pays full price here. Everybody gets a deal. Everyone walks in on something free or $1. And I'm coaching an owner through this. He said, I've been running free offers for 3 years and I want to get on the paid trial train. But every time I switch that on the ads, CPLs go through the roof. I get lower sales volume. And I'm like, it's the hard, uncomfortable pain you got to walk through to retrain your market. You've trained them for 3 years. Your time is not valuable. It's free. that's the point where we don't want you guys to get there, right? And that's why we're talking about this. So let's press on, like in terms of like psychology. Like I want to touch on that in terms of like why people act different on your price point, right? We say this phrase on the podcast: when you pay attention. When you pay more attention. And when you look at that pyramid of fitness, why does personal training who charges the most get the highest compliance and the highest retention? And you pay the most and you pay the most attention on that pyramid. Then you go small group and semi-private, then you go into large group, and then you go into like, I don't know, online workout videos, like the least compliance, right? Like that's kind of like that pyramid of fitness, because it's $10 to get a YouTube subscription or an app, and then it's 150 to get large group, and then it's 300 to get small group, and then it's 500 to get a PT. And the more I go up that pyramid, the more I'm paying attention because I want to get my money's worth, right? And that goes for anything, whether it's business coaching, marketing agencies, people go hire really cheap ones and then they're unhappy with the result, right? And it's because those people are not paying attention at the price that they're charging. So that's the logic in terms of what you're trying to signal to your market, is like this price point is translating value, but also I want you as the customer to pay attention. If actually I charge too little, you're not going to come in. If you run 14 days for $14, we see so many non-starters on that program. People just buy it and they never even come in because it doesn't cause any pain in their body to lose $14, right? That model of Planet Fitness is built off of people not finding this little bill hidden on their bank statement every month, and there's no pain there, so they just keep it going. It's like, let's just keep accumulating people to do this, right? And so we are not in that. We are in the world where we are charging enough to create pain for you. We want it to be a little financially uncomfortable because we want you to be compliant. We want you to get here 3 times a week. We want you to follow our nutrition advice. We want you to actually use it, and we charge accordingly to get that out of you, right? If we charged $50, you wouldn't be here, and we have to charge accordingly. So realize that's the other psychology behind it. What kind of behavior do you want with your clients? I know when I first opened and I followed that old school mindset, I'm talking 15 years ago, was like open your boot camp and do $99 founding memberships. Those were my biggest headed clients. They were always asking for more session times. They were always complaining about not having enough equipment. They were always trying to get a family added on for 70% off. Like it was just, oh my God, always discounts. And eventually I inched my way up higher and higher. I got to 120, 150. I got to 200 with large group training. And then those clients, they stayed the longest. They didn't complain. I loved being there more. Like I wasn't like stressed out about my business. And so it is a two-way street, like your happiness and your team and then the customer's adherence. And it all stems from this one decision, which is pricing, right? Kim, what else do you tell owners around pricing accordingly, and the psychology behind it?
I mean, I use my own example all the time. I always try to bring, whenever I'm on the phone with an owner, I like to bring my own experience into this because, like you said, we all did things in the beginning. I mean, I used to do the 21 for 21 because that's what it was back in the day that gyms were promoting. And we found exactly what you said. People would pay the $21. So you'll get a bunch of people up front to come in. Maybe they'll come in for a session. But then what happens after they come in for the first session, especially people that haven't worked out in a really long time? They're going to be really sore. And then they're just not going to come back because they're going to think, well, I can't do this, or I need to be fit to go to the gym. And, all the objections come in their head, and they didn't pay enough for it. They don't care about losing $21. So they don't, especially for 3 weeks time, they're like, forget this, I'll go do something else. So we saw a lot of people just flat out disappear. Now, we built off of that for a bit, but it was a slow climb versus if we were doing what we're doing now, where our first 6 weeks, it's only $5 less than our regular pricing. I charge $42 a week. We bring them in at $37 a week so that we can structure it. But now they're paying more per week. They're seeing more value in it, and they keep coming. And we have other things that we do, but just talking about the price of it, you charge more. Like you said, people pay more attention because they don't want to lose that money. They look at it as higher value, for sure. So we have seen that with our numbers, that when you price higher, people definitely are more compliant. It's the same thing with the personal training pricing. Those are priced up. People come to their training sessions. They're more engaged. They listen to what their trainer's saying because they paid more for it. They don't want to lose that money.
Oh, love it. All right. Jason, anything else you'd throw in around pricing and educating owners around that?
Yeah, get back to psychology. Just because we own a business and we're entrepreneurs and we own a gym, like we're not bestowed, we're not unique. Like think of yourself as a consumer and think of what you pay for and how much more you value things, right? I mean, just think of like the vehicle you buy or what doesn't matter what it is. When we are paying more for it, we just have a higher perception of value of it, right? And so I think back of like last October, got my dream truck and like I'm obsessed with it. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's a truck I've always been wanted. I mean, my son asked to drive it and he's like, I know you love your truck more than you love me, Dad, but I need to take it to start. And it's like it's because it's the value is high, but it's something I've wanted. And so I literally washed it 10 minutes before you got on this podcast, right? So it's a matter of just like taking care of it. There again, in me, it's a perceived high value. Nothing dirty is going to touch that truck, right? It's always going to get regular maintenance. It's going to get the best. So think of yourself as a consumer all the time. Get away from the business owner once in a while and think of like as a consumer, how do you behave and how do you interact? Your clients are viewing you the same way. So always get on the other side of that desk when you think about using words like cheap, unlimited, psychology, paying attention. Think of yourself as a consumer and like, what do you pay attention to when you make the big investments, right? Think of like going back to like kids and driving in cars, right? When you were young, if you bought your first car, man, you could tell when you're in high school what kids paid for their own car because they took care of them. Mommy and daddy might have bought their car. They might be doing donuts and wheelies in the parking lot, right? And so you could tell even young, early on, we have learned behavior of if we are paying for something, we're taking much better care of it. In this case, we're talking about people paying and taking better care of their health in our world. So
Yeah, that's such a good example. I mean, even the way you see people park cars when I go to the grocery store, the nice new cars are in the back of the lot away, and then people beat up cars are parking in the front. They don't care. People are banging it with their door and their grocery cart. It's like you protect your investment. You park it far away from the crowd. You don't mind walking. You get it washed. Where again, when you got that car as a teenager, you don't care. Your friends are eating cheeseburger and spilling soda in there, and it's like, who cares? It's a beat her up. But then you pay for your first brand new car. You're like, no food is allowed. Take your shoes off. Get in barefoot. Like, why are you acting different, right? They're both cars because of what you pay. Now you pay attention more. And I guess wrapping up that final point, we'll move on. Audit your own language. Stop saying cheap. Stop saying the word discount. You can't repel what you attract. And so if you're attracting it by saying these words, you're going to get more people in your life saying it back to you, right? So alternatives. We don't want to just sit here and harbor on the problem and just say like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Let's give you guys alternatives. So instead of discounting, to break that mindset, change your frame of mind of I need to just add more value. I need to add more bonuses. I need to add more stuff. And we don't want to add stuff for the point of stuff because you can send somebody 20 PDFs and they don't care. But if you send me one that solves a problem I have, that's going to be more valuable. This is where in the sales process, listening to the person's actual problems, because that's like an example from my own gym. I had 20 PDFs with all kinds of problems they solved, but I listened to you and what problems you had, and I only sent you the 2 or 3 you needed. The others were not real valuable to you. It's just now stuff, right? And clutter, and we don't want more of that. So what you can do when you're value stacking is you can do a couple things. Number one, you can do digital assets. You can give people, if they travel a lot, a travel workout. If they go out to eat a lot, you can give them dining out guides and instructions. And this is exactly what I order at these restaurants. And you could also give them online training. There are people who want hybrid memberships where they're like, I'll come here 2 times a week and I want to go to a big box 2 times. Can you program for me? And they want that hybrid. These are all value adds and you don't have to cut your price down. You could just solve more of your customer's problem, right? The other one is giving up your time. And this is the one that I know owners are a little bit more resistant to, but you can have your team give time to these people. It doesn't have to be you. Namely, one-on-one personal training sessions. You think a good idea that new clients get a little bit more attention in the on-ramping, right? And they're taught proper form. You can bundle this into your onboarding and orientation, or you can say, hey, by the way, when you get started with us, we have everybody do 3 personal training sessions to make sure your form is correct. And guess what? Sometimes you can get an upsell out of that. The person's like, you know what? I just like this. Can we keep doing this? And boom, you added a personal training client. It took some time on the front end, but I'd say that's a value stack rather than a discount. Say, hey, I'll give you 1 complimentary personal training session. The price stays the same, right? These are things you can leverage. And then another one is like nutrition coaching. If the client needs more of that and you enjoy that or someone on your team enjoys that, offer that as a value add, right? I do think, again, in my experience, most people are less compliant with nutrition at a gym. They have to pay a separate fee. Like they need to feel that, right? That sting. But you can say, I'll give you 2 nutrition sessions. And again, that's a part where I wouldn't want to go to unlimited. You know what? with your plan, I'll give you unlimited nutrition coaching. Unlimited? Like, what if they want to do 3 calls a week? Like, that's where, again, value can backfire. That word can backfire on you. InBody, I'll give you unlimited InBodies. Oh, I'll just scan in every day after every session. Oh my God, I've made a massive mistake. No, you don't need to do it that much. So that's where, again, language is important. Any other things you guys would add on in terms of like not cutting price, but maybe adding more bonuses or value?
Yeah, this is something that we just have built into a few things that we do. So like again, that first 6 week starting point, part of the value of it is we do a sit down, we call it a focus meeting. In the beginning, we're gonna do like goal setting and things like that. And we run their InBody. So we call them, hey, you get one InBody when you first start. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna do that personalized session. And people always come out of it saying, wow, this was really great. Cause we dig into their pain. I mean, people cry. And it also is a really good opportunity to learn what else do they need from there that you can then talk to them about. So we do that in their first week. Around their fourth week, because we just want them to focus on tiny habits, getting the workouts in, some basic habits. Around their fourth week, we do one nutrition sit down. Really, we have it kind of structured out where it's just teaching the foundations of nutrition and macronutrients. Most people don't even know what they are and what the purpose of each of them is. But again, it gives them some value in nutrition. They always leave saying, I didn't know some of that. Everybody always learns something. But the other thing that it does is it opens it up to further nutrition coaching. So now you can say, hey, based on this X problem that you just shared with me and the goal that you want to get to, I really think that more one-on-one nutrition coaching would be valuable for you. And then here's our nutrition packages that you can do with our CNS. And I know not everybody, has a CNS on the team like I do, but that doesn't mean you can't also do some sort of nutrition coaching with that. A lot of trainers do nutrition counseling. So there's always a way to build it in. So we build that into every single starting point that we do with everybody. And then we value stack challenges and stuff by adding other things in. Anytime we're going to run any kind of special or offer like our Black Friday, it's a value stack. It's not necessarily a discount. The membership, and then we're going to give you a personal training session, or we're going to give you, like you said, a nutrition depending on what they want. Sometimes we'll give them the choice. So, we always add something in there as a value stack to our regular programming or to our regular start. And then if we're running a challenge or like a Black Friday special or something like that.
Love it. All right. Those are all good points. Jason, any other value adders or bonuses that you guys throw in?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is I think it's kind of standard. I think we all do the same thing as gym owners. We all have the same resources that we're including, but really think down if you're going to sit down with this person, you do the sales meeting with them, you're doing a consultation, you do a Zoom meeting, whatever. You're going to sit down with this person and say, hey, this person's going to leave the day. They're going to pay me $200. They're going to pay me $400, whatever it is. They're going to pay you something that day. And then all you got to do is listen to what they need, kind of like Dustin, like you just said. Like, what do they need before they leave that meeting with you and before they pay you, right? What particular guys do they need? Do they need a weekly Zoom call if they're doing nutrition coaching? Do they need like some macros? You need macro set. So like listen to what they need. Just ask as many questions as possible. So rather than just presenting them with like a laminated list of your packages, I mean, it's this kind of, we kind of blur out as consumers because there's so much on there we just don't need, where Mrs. Jones doesn't even know what a kettlebell is yet, right? So why are we just kind of forcing all this stuff down her throat when that's not what she needs, right? So think of every time you're selling that upfront package or that cash flow offers, we always say to cash flow the front end of your business is, I think I use this analogy as well in a different podcast, was like, this basket's in front of us. What are we going to put in the basket of goodies to give them before they leave? Typically that they're paying us for the goodies, right? But that's the big thing is like, what are we putting in that basket before they leave? And that's going to be the biggest value to them and make that sale the easiest for you. Don't give them anything they don't need because overwhelm sets in. That's friction. And that's just what we don't need, especially if you're serving avatars such as, middle-aged females or even males who've never been in the gym, so we don't want to overwhelm them. Think of like what value can we add to make it like that no-brainer, no duh offer.
Hey guys, just taking a quick break to ask for one thing. If you can give us a 5-star review, it'd mean the world to me. It helps get me feedback on what you're enjoying about the show and how we're adding value to your business. And it helps us get the word out so we can turn the tide on this war against obesity. So give us a 5-star review and let's get back to the show. Well, yeah, I think that's a good segue to switch into like what to say, right? What's the right narrative? What's the right language to use to get someone to see our value? Because like at the end of the day, value comes down to me giving you my money and what I'm going to get back for it. Do I see like it's not just a fair trade, like I'm getting the oversized return, I'm getting the strong ROI, like this is totally worth it. And so that's what it comes down to is I'm parting ways with my money, and what I get in return, I feel like I'm getting a great deal, right? That's value. So one of the things that I find is helpful, especially for us having coaching style gyms, we don't have open scan and go do your own workout type of access gyms. We have fitness studios, coaching studios, right? So like the first thing is you don't know that this person knows the difference between the two. Gyms are gyms to the general public. So just taking a moment to build value around your model. This is what we are. And you might have heard about these guys. They don't really help you a lot. They give you equipment. That's fine for those people, but you're probably here because you need more help. So I just want to establish that. And I just think the best word you can use is we are a personal training studio. Even if you do group, it doesn't matter. You have to do one to one, just personal. You give people the personal touch. You are giving them training, fitness training in a studio setting, right? People immediately in their brain anchor personal training as higher cost than classes and open gym. Again, that's unlimited classes, unlimited access to our gym. We're starting to feel like devalued when we use these words. We're a personal training studio. We're proud to say we're one of the top fitness studios in the area, and we do it through personalized coaching. But the great news is we're very affordable. And then the next language is price anchor. And you should always pick something that's 5 to 10x what you charge, right? That should be your price anchor, because when they hear your price, it's a relief, right? But the reason I'm starting that education is if you're 300 a month and my brain's like, oh, these guys have got to be around $30. It's just like all the other gyms. We're going to have an uphill battle, right? Because I've price anchored myself because you didn't set one on a lower price model. So you need to take control that narrative, and you need to price anchor me really high and say like, I'm so glad that we're the number one fitness studio and we don't have to do $10,000 price points like the weight loss clinics, and we don't even have to charge $1,000 like most one-on-one trainers a month. We can make it a much more comfortable rate. And so like I'm controlling the narrative that we are a great deal and that our price anchor is not in these absurd prices, right? So that's part of taking control before you even pitch. We haven't even said price yet. These are all like pre-selling tactics, right? And then, Jason, to go to your point, is before I pitch, I'm explaining our model, I'm price anchoring high. And then before I give my price, the final thing I do is I want to draw lines. And what that means is all the problems you told me, which I should know because I'm being a good salesperson, I'm taking notes. I'm not just trying to memorize it. I'm writing every problem down. And then what I mean by drawing lines is I want to tell you what we do in our studio to solve that problem. So if you say, I'm very, very busy, I got 3 kids and I got a full-time job, line across, don't worry, we do 30-minute hit workouts, right? Time saving. So draw that line. You said you go out to eat a lot. Don't worry. I have a dining out guide. I'm going to send it to you. It tells you what to order. Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, restaurants, everything, even gas stations. It's all there. I got you, right? Childcare. Like I don't have it. No problem. We have a lobby. We even have some toys, an area they can sit. They can bring their iPad. So I'm literally like a sniper. Every shot she gave me a little bullet and I'm loading it into my gun. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you. I'll take that. And boom, I'm firing and I'm firing and I'm firing. This is a very custom pitch. You don't give the same pitch to everybody. I'm listening to her pain points. And if she didn't bring a pain point, I'm going to skip that. Sometimes gym owners are so proud of what they offer, they blabber everything. And if I don't care about my body fat and muscle mass, don't tell me about the InBody. And if I don't have kids, don't tell me about your kids section. But we'll just say everything we offer and we're not customizing it. So just listen closely. Here's your pain point. Here's my solution. Custom pitch. Then I go to my price, right? And the best news is we're only $49 a week. What a deal, right, Mrs. Jones? So let's go ahead and get you signed up because we do have a fast action bonus. We'll waive your $100 enrollment fee and I can get you into your first session Monday. What do you say, right? You're ready to get started. And that's the pre-selling before you actually pitch, right? That's all the building up and the building up so that when she says, is this value worth more than my money? It's a hell yeah, because I've spent so much time building it up. Again, educated her on coaching versus open gym, price anchored very high, $10,000, $1,000 programs. Then I sniper shot at every problem with a solution. And then boom, I end it with a pitch. And to her, she's like, done, right? I don't have to go around and look at the other gyms. You very confidently showed me that this is the place that I need to be, right? So that's controlling the narrative. Jason, is there anything else you'd add on that? Like anything else you do to control the narrative in a sales pitch?
Yeah, man. I mean, Dustin, obviously, you can give the master class on closing a sale, but I'll tell you what, there's one thing that if you ever want to stop a gym owner dead in their track, ask them how much they charge. right? They'll get the deer in the headlight and they'll do that, and they'll just start blabbing everything about their prices. And like you said, it's just the funniest thing to ask a gym owner. And I'm gonna go old school, man. I'm talking all these years back. We first started a gym. The number one response was because obviously you answer the phone, you're like, hey, this Jason XYZ gym. And the first thing someone says is, hey, how much do you charge? Right? And you will lose if you start talking about money right there. So the first thing I learned is I taught everybody that ever answered a phone in my gym was the number one reply is, do you even know what we do here? Boom. Then you've completely changed the narrative, right? And so that's what you always have to do. So maybe you know this already. Maybe you're listening to this and maybe you just had an epiphany or something, but that's the best thing to do, especially those people that just pick up the phone or maybe they just message you and they're like, how much do you charge at your gym? Simply say, "Oh, awesome. Do you know what we do here?" And the answer is gonna be usually no, right? And then you are controlling the narrative from right on there. You've completely changed the conversation. You've taken that off a price, and now we started a conversation with them too. So that's the only thing I had here to control the narrative is think about the very first thing you say. That's how to control the narrative is you obviously can take control right away. Ask them, "Do you even know what we do here?" And that's the perfect conversation starter.
And in sales, they call that being smoke, which is you answer a question with a question. It's like, hey, what do you charge? And then you reply with the question, do you know what we do? And you're now back in the driver's seat. Whoever's asking the questions is always the person in the driver's seat. I love that. Kim, how about for you? Anything else that you would add on that?
Yeah, I mean, the other way is I'm not even sure what you need yet. We have a lot of different solutions for different types of people. I'm not sure what you need yet. And then now you're opening the questions up to talk about their pain points. What is it that they need? And now it's more you're building things around them. Even if you do have one price point, it doesn't matter. You still approach it that way. Well, I don't know you yet. We haven't talked. I don't know what you need. Let's talk a little bit about what you need, and then I can tell you about the different programs that we offer and the ways that we can then get you to that goal. But this is overall, all of these points lead to the same thing is this is why you don't want to have pricing in your ads. That's a mistake that I'm sure we all have seen gym owners make, or they're pitching a price too soon. The first message that goes out has the price right in it and buy my thing, buy my thing. Like when the first thing they learn about you is the price, that's the only thing they're going to judge you on. That's it. They have no value. They don't know what you do. It doesn't matter. They're just going to judge you on your price and that's it. So, like you said before, you really have to build the value of the service that you provide and what you're going to do for them. You have to build the value for the results that they're going to get when they're in your location. Because we have to remember that these people are in pain. The people that are coming into our gym, they're in pain. And we want to make sure that we are talking to the results that they are going to get and how we're going to get them out of that pain. Like, if you could get this 100 pounds off of me, help me do this. So then I can just get in and out of the car easier, so that I can play with my kids easier, so that I can have a better quality of life. What's the value on that? By the time you get to that price, you have now exploded this pain and talked about what their life could look like. That's why that's so important to do all of that stuff first. Otherwise, you're just another number. You're just another price that they're going to be. They're just thinking about taking money out of their pocket. So it's really about building that value, building those results first.
Yes, yes. I love to hear that. That's all good stuff. I think the only other thing that I would add on there is just finding that language, closing the deal is like we know that objections are going to happen. And I actually say the objection is when the sales skills actually show up because people think like, oh, they didn't buy right when I pitched. If that was the case, you would just need a menu, right? Like I go into the Chick-fil-A and I look at the menu and I just tell the person what I want. I give them the money. They were not a salesperson. They were like just a money collector. If you didn't need to push back on objections, you would just put a menu in your gym, people would buy it. So it's like, don't get frustrated. That is to be expected. And then be prepared. You should have those top 5 objections we know we're going to run into loaded and ready to go. And that way nobody catches you off guard. So the biggest one is the price objection, right? And so I'd say first thing is that's feedback. You didn't take my advice that I mentioned earlier. You didn't educate on the model. You didn't price anchor. You didn't do a sniper shot value stack. And if you keep hearing that, it's because you're probably saying, will you give me your money for my workouts? And the answer is no, right? Like that doesn't work in today's world. The customers become too sophisticated. They don't want workouts. They want actual accountability. They want actual community. They want actual results. Workouts are a part of getting there, but it's not everything. And if you're not giving me what I need, I'm not going to give you my money. So be prepared, but realize one of the best things you can do, and you will not suck at this, I promise you, as much as it'll put fear in your heart, is to work on your storytelling skills, right? And so we've been telling stories since two cavemen clacked rocks together and were able to draw on the wall. That's built in us. And people get fearful, like, I'm not a storyteller, I'm not a public speaker. It's like, sure, you've told your story a million times and you've told your client stories, and that's all I'm asking you to tell. I'm not trying to get you to memorize any other story. So the reason that I bring this up is that every objection, you should have a story to overcome it. There is no logical way to win it. If they say I can't afford it, say, okay, stop going to Starbucks. Lost. I don't have time, say, show me your calendar. Let's go through your day minute by minute. Logical loss, right? Logic loses. Emotion comes from stories. And so if they give you the price objection, have a story of a client that also was afraid of the price, took the leap and did it, and now tell about her results and tell her story, right? And that's what I mean by storytelling. Like, you have a story for every objection because you heard them all, and there were those first few who still went forward and they signed up. Write them down. Who's my spouse story? Who's my time story? Who's my price story? And memorize those as your objection, because people just want to know that they're not the first one to go forward, right? Like, they don't want to be the guinea pigs, right? So when they know, oh, there was another mom of three and she was scared and she afforded it and she got the weight off, oh, that means there's other people like me. I won't be the first. Let's go, right? I'll go ahead and do it. Because in every SaaS company, they actually look at customers in 4 different batches. There's the first adopters, like, we made something and all these crazy innovative people just want to always have the most cutting edge thing. So they jumped on ChatGPT the day it was announced. Like, that's your first adopters. That was your founding members. Some of them sight unseen. Didn't even see the gym. I'm in. I heard a gym's coming to town. That's your first adopter. Second is the first majority. So maybe you've been open 6 months, you run a big promotion, another second wave comes behind. That's great. And then you got your late majority. And then finally you got your laggers. Like, you've been open 5, 7, 10 years and they've been sitting on your email list and they're finally coming in. That's the fourth group. So the reason I bring this up is, like, whatever phase you feel like your gym is in, you're still getting first adopters, first majority, late majority, or laggers. You got to have a story that you collect for those common objections, right? Because people will come in waves and you have to be prepared. Because otherwise, if you don't, you're only losing a sale because of lack of preparation. That's really what sales comes down to. If you can study your calendar and say who's coming in and make personalized videos to them and then take notes, like, all these things I'm preparing, because I don't show up to lose. I show up to win, right? I show up to my appointments prepared. That's why I close most of them. I didn't stumble into them in the mess of a busy day, right? So that's some advice on how to overcome these objections, is to bring a story, right? That'll really help. The next thing is looking at the numbers when it comes down to discounts. Is I just want to, like, highlight the pain it causes in your business. When you discount memberships, which we've all done, we've had founding memberships and people were on low rates. All that does is when you get all your members together and you average them out, they just pull your average numbers down, right? Your member value down average, right? Like, if you had 200 members and 100 were on your founding rate, they're pulling your averages down, which actually means they have a spot in your session and they're hurting your profitability. And so, yes, it's nice to have them, but if you're at capacity, you have to really start considering, do I need to raise their rates? There's no more room here, and they're taking one on these really low rates. And I know it's a tough call because they were loyal and they were there from the beginning, but you're really going to be stuck, right? So that's why membership discounts, seller, gym owner, beware. Trial discounts. If you go too low, like we said earlier, free $1, it's going to be a really uphill climb to get them to membership, because you told me your value is worth $1 a day. And now you're telling me it's 6x. Now it's worth $6 a day. Like, why? Why can't you just keep being worth $1 a day, right? You are price anchoring people with that trial. And then the third is paid in full discounts. Be careful, because you can lose a lot of profitability if you cut your EFT down too much because you're selling too many paid in fulls. You give out too much free time. I mean, I know owners that were doing, like, buy 18 months, get 6 free. Like, that's crazy. You're giving away 25% of your 2-year contracts for free. You could get really in a nasty place with doing too many. So again, these are just the costs of discounting and things to be thinking about, right? I tend to find the only people that really lean on discounts tend to be either, like, newbie salespeople. It's just like an easy get out of jail card and make a sale. Like, let's just give them a discount. That'll get us the win. When you become more skilled, you don't need any discounts. You can charge full price. You can ask full price and get it all day long. I tend to give that to a newer salesperson to get their confidence up. But you can't lean on that forever and make that your only go-to thing, because then you're just never going to be a top earning salesperson. And the owner doesn't want to run back-to-back sales forever. They want to start getting what their price is. So that's number one. The second one, kind of blanket term, lazy people. I just said people that are like, I just want to get this decision done, whether it's a yes or no. And the fastest way to get a decision is to throw a discount and ask them what's yes or no. And that usually comes from your team. Your team just wants to give out discounts to solve problems. Hey, this customer is upset. We double billed them. Let's give them a discount. This person wants to quit. Let's give them a discount. This person really wants to sign up, but they can't afford it. Let's give them a discount. And they're just throwing it out. Well, guys, they don't own the business and they're not long-term thinking. They're just thinking about, I want this problem off my plate today. They're not thinking about what your business will be like in 2 years when maybe they went on and they got a different job. And they're not thinking about what the health of your business will be. So be mindful. And so this talk is about gym owners, but then also your team's mindset around discounts, right? Kim, I guess anything other scars that you've seen from discounting too much?
I think also the other category of people who give out a lot of cheap memberships and discounts, like too low, are people who are in kind of a desperate state. Maybe the business hasn't been going so well. You've lost a lot of people. And they think, well, if I throw a lot of discounts out there, I'll get more people in and I'll be able to build up again. But it goes back to that same thing that I was saying before and that we were talking about with like the 21 for 21, the 7 for 7, the dollar is like, you're just going all the way back to the beginning. You're going to attract the same exact problem. You're better off if you want to do like I do it. I do a little bit cheaper of a price for my starting program, but it's only $5 less a week. Like, because you want to attract the people that can afford your program in the first place. So like, we don't want to say never give a discount or never give a break or never give a starting point program, an offer, right? We build offers for our clients that are outside of the regular membership prices. But the whole point is not never give an offer or just the whole point is make it reasonable. Don't make it too far off of what you normally charge. If you're bringing in somebody at $20 and then you want to charge them $200 for a membership, that's going to be two separate people. The person that's coming in on $20, they have to go somewhere where their membership is 10, 20, $30 a month. You're better off charging closer to your membership price to get that special starting offer. Now, yeah, you may get less people who are going to start, but you're attracting the right people. You're attracting the people who can afford your membership in the first place. And that's really the point. That's what you want to do. You don't want to give discounts to save the business. That's not going to happen. You have to attract the right people. And that's the proper way to do it.
We've never seen it. Do we know the gym
Yeah, no.
and a discount and they have 1,000 members?
No,
Tell
definitely
me this gym, this mysterious
right,
gym
right.
with the crazy discount and the volume came and the whole city signed up. I've
No,
never.
not if you're running, like we said, the difference between the gym and the fitness studio. Like when you were saying it, I realized I always say studio. I have always said studio because it's a higher value thing. Now, look, are there big box gyms where their model, like you said, they charge $10 a month and get as many people as you possibly can and hope that nobody ever comes because we don't have room for everybody? Sure, that's a model, and that's a model that exists if that's what people are running. But if you're running a program where you are higher priced and you want people to come and you're really focused on community and results and relationship and all of that, that's a totally different ballgame. And now you really have to be very strategic about your pricing from the first time that they walk through the door.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Jason, what about for you, man? Anything else that you'd add on that?
Yeah. Yeah, here's my parting shot, right? I mean, we talk to dozens of gym owners every month, right? And I'll ask you too, right? So if you ask any gym owner what's their closing rate, what do they always say? I
It's
mean,
always high, like
Yeah.
80%, 90%.
Right.
It's really high.
every gym owner says, I get them in the door, I close everybody. I'm a 100% closer, right? I mean, that's what every gym owner says. I just got to get leads in the door because if I get them, I close them 100%. First thing I always think to is like, why aren't you raising your prices then? Because if you're closing at a 100% closing rate, that means you're not charging enough, right? You
Yes.
should be always raising your prices until you start seeing your closing rate coming down, right? And then you're going to get better at sales and that's going to come back up, right? One of the first things I learned early on, right? Because we had the fear mentality. We first opened up our gym. I had no confidence in the sales skills of selling fitness, right? So I'm like, just get it cheap, right? And as soon as I get 10, 15, 20 sales on my belt, turn the price up. Turn the price up. I kept turning the price up. And that's what we did as we started selling more and more memberships, right? So if you're listening to this and you say you close everybody else has foot in your gym, you better be raising your prices next month or tomorrow, right? And so keep raising prices until you start getting friction. Because if people are just signing up, no problem, good for you. but you could be making more money. Dustin, you talk about how much money are we leaving on the table with those discounts. Think of all those people that could have been paying you more over the last month, year, 2 years, or 3 years, right? So if you're closing a quote unquote 100% in your gym, raise your prices, man. You can make a lot more revenue.
It's a good point. There is a healthy sales friction, right? 100%, it's unhealthy. You are undercharging. You need to raise prices. So as we wrap up here, that's one of the next steps I'll kind of leave everybody with is like the biggest takeaways we want you guys to hear from this is audit your own language, get rid of the word discount, cheap. That should be curse words to you and your team, and audit your team's language. You know, are they saying like, oh, we'll give you free this, we'll give you a discount? Like, why'd you guys say that? We don't say that word here. We don't do free, right? Nothing's free. Everything has a cost, whether it's time or money, right? So it's like audit your language, audit your team's language. You know, again, if Kim's saying studio, I better hold Tim says studio because people follow the leader, right? So like that's what it's got to change. Then the third one, Jason just said it. Make sure you have a healthy amount of sales friction. If your percentage is too low, you need to sales train and get that closing up. If it's too high, you probably need to add a 10% jump, right? And get into that 80% sweet spot. But you're at 90, 100, yeah, like that's way too high. And then the final part is look at your pricing and ask yourself, what is the right price for my ideal customer? And how do I define that? Because that's a vague term, I still think. It's a brick and mortar, it's a local person who wants your specific expertise. You solve their problems, and that person, based on your price, will be compliant most of the time on the training and nutrition you advise them. That is an ideal customer. Local person that wants your expertise, that will be on track most of the time on your training and nutrition. Now you found the right price for that person, right? They're paying attention, they're showing up, they're using it, you're priced appropriately. If you're not, then we got to change things. So hopefully that's the best thing that you guys can do as we wrap up this episode. All right, well, we'll let you guys get out of here. As always, we just want to see you guys grow and impact more people, make more money along the way. So give us a like, a subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey, gym owners, let's face it, you probably don't love digital marketing. You probably don't want to go into Facebook and load the ad up and think of ad copy and creatives and optimize it daily. Well, hand that over to me and my team because we're geeks about marketing and we want to flood your gym with new members so you can change their life. Let us do what we do best. All right, go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call. Don't bring the credit card. It's not a hard pitch. It's just a conversation to see if we're a good fit. Talk soon.